So you have your database, auth, storage, and real-time all set up, but your app needs a piece of logic that just doesn't belong to the client. Maybe it's calling a third-party payment processing API using a secret API key, or adding some AI features. You don't want to spin up a whole backend just for that. That's exactly what Edge Functions are for. In this video, I'll be walking you through how you can get started with Supabase Edge Functions. Edge Functions are written in TypeScript and run in Dino, which is a modern JavaScript runtime. It supports NPM packages, so almost anything you do in Node works here too. Edge functions are globally distributed, which means when a user calls a function, Supabase automatically finds the closest available region and executes the function there. They are serverless, so you don't need to manage any infrastructure. You just write the code, deploy it, and let Supabase handle the scaling. And they integrate seamlessly with the rest of Supabase, your database, auth, storage. You have easy access to all of them inside your Edge functions through the Supabase client library. The easiest way to creating a Supabase Edge function is by heading to the dashboard and creating one from here. We also have templates for common use cases. Let's start with a simple Hello World application, and we can just hit the deploy button to complete the deployment. Once the deployment is complete, I'm just going to turn off this JWT check so that we can just invoke the function with a simple curl command. I can copy this snippet, take it to my terminal, and invoke the function. And there you go, I get the response, hello functions. Let's go back to the code and edit the function a little bit. I'm going to delete this name and hardcode my name right here. Let's redeploy it and call the function again. And this time we get the updated response, hello Tyler. Creating a function from the dashboard is nice and easy, but for any real project, you probably want to use the CLI to create and manage your functions. So let's do that. I have an empty directory here to work with. Here, first I can run Supabase init to initialize Supabase in this directory. And then I can run Supabase functions new, give it a function name to create a new Edge function. This creates a my function directory inside the functions directory. And let's open up the index.ts file to view the code. We can also bring over the code that we've worked on within the dashboard by running a simple command. We can head over to the settings and scroll a bit and copy this piece of command of functions download. We can run this within our terminal window. But before that, we have to link our local project to the remote project. So I'm doing that. My project is getting started functions. And now that I've linked it, I can run the download command to download the existing functions that we've created on the dashboard. Now the one that we downloaded from the dashboard uses the Supabase Server SDK, which is an SDK that bundles all the things that you typically would do in an Edge Functions environment and kind of exposes it in a nice API. Through its context object, you can tell whether the user is an authenticated or secret user or how they're accessing the Edge functions. And also the context object provides easy access to your Supabase client library. In order to get started with this template, you can run the Supabase functions new and give it a function name with a auth flag, give it a value of user. This is going to use this template with this nice Supabase Server SDK pre-configured. And now that we have created our functions, let's try to run them so that we can test things out. Of course, we can deploy our function to try it out, but what's nice with Supabase is the Supabase CLI comes with the easy environment that we can set up to run the functions locally. So let's do that. First, I need to run Supabase start to start Supabase locally. Make sure you have Docker running in the background in order for this command to succeed. Then we can run Supabase function serve to run all the functions that we have in our project. For those functions that were created from the CLI, there's this handy curl command that we can just copy and take it over to our terminal and call it. And there, we see the hello functions response. The function is working. If we decide to modify our function code, for example, let me just hardcode hello world right here, then we don't need to run anything in our command line. We can just go back to the terminal, Run the curl command again, and we see the updated response. The code is dynamically updated as we edit the code. Now that we've tested our functions locally, let's stop running Supabase and deploy them to the cloud. We can run Supabase functions deploy, which will deploy the functions to our remote Supabase project. Let's go to our Supabase dashboard to view the deployed functions, and we can see the my function that we created locally is nicely deployed with the same set of code. Let's try to run it, but before that I'm gonna toggle off this verify JWT so that we can just run it from any kind of curl command without proper authorization. Run the curl command on my terminal, and there you go, we have the hello world being printed. Now, calling the functions using the curl command is fun and everything, but you probably want to call them in your application code. You can, of course, call them using a regular fetch, or you can call them using the Supabase client library. You can use the invoke function under the functions namespace, just like this. Alright, so building all these hello world function is fun and all, but obviously we want to do something more advanced, and one easy way to do that is by importing packages. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's say we wanted to use this UUID package. We can copy this import statement into our file and add this npm colon at the beginning. We can also specify the version number as well. And just like that, the package is installed. We can use it in our code base just like this. Now, some packages or tools such as Stripe might require you to have a secret API key in order to call their services. So let's take a look at how we can manage them in Supabase Edge Functions. Let's say we're using Stripe, and we need a Stripe secret key in order to initialize the Stripe SDK. We can get the environment variable in our Dino environment by calling dino.env.get and passing the variable name. Now we haven't set the variable actually, so let's do that. We can create a .env file inside our Supabase/functions directory, and in here we're gonna populate it. I'm gonna just copy and paste this variable name, and here I'm just gonna make up a fake secret key. One important thing is to always make sure your .env file is ignored by your Git. With the .env file in place, we can run Supabase secrets set and pass the path to the .env file in order to set the secrets for a Supabase project. We can head to the secrets page within our dashboard to confirm this. And there it is, the Stripe secret key. We also have access to the hashed version of our secrets. We can confirm that we have the correct secrets value by copying our secret and hashing it using SHA-256 and confirming that the value matches. Now, I used a website to hash my secret key just for demonstration purposes, but you should never actually copy and paste your secret key into a random website that you find online. Keep your secrets nice and secured. We covered how to create edge functions, how to run them with the CLI, how to load packages, and how to manage secrets. And that's how you can get started with Supabase Edge Functions. The next episode of Getting Started with Supabase will be all about running Supabase locally, which we touched a little bit too today. I hope to see you all there as well. Bye!